It's a vlog! Hey, I'm back from my 4th time in Las Vegas, 3rd for EVO, this year being its 15th anniversary. EVO is the fighting game tournament, and more over the years, it's not just a tournament, it's more like a fighting game convention. It was more apparent this year than it's ever been. Like, half the floor space is dedicated to vendors, to an artist's alley, to demoing upcoming fighting games. And the other half is like 6 different stages, including the main one, pool play areas, concessions, a bar that had 4 monitors on each side, with feeds from several of the stages. It's this grand, wonderful experience on top of like this really prestigious tournament. And if you can only go to one tournament, I always have to recommend that tournament should be EVO. EVO is the one that I would highly recommend that you go to at least once, just to feel that atmosphere. Plus, like my usual spiel about how even if you aren't some crazy high-level player, it's still worth entering the games that you like. But even as a spectator, I think it's worth it. But like, take Street Fighter for instance. It had over 2,000 entrants, I think like 2,600 or something. Like 2% of those people, maximum. Even that's high. 2% of those people had any realistic chance of making it a dent. But everyone showed up to see how far they could get, to test themselves out, to play, to learn, knowing like full well they were ultimately just donating $10 to the pot, and that's fine. Show up and play, show up and watch. This is my regularly scheduled PSA that you should go to tournaments, especially if that tournament is the biggest one of the year. Now, outside of the 9 featured tournament games, those being BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, Smash 4, Melee, Marvel 3, Injustice, what am I missing? Street Fighter 5, obviously, Tekken, what's the one? KOF 14, that's the last one. There were side tournaments on site. I know Anime Evo was big, Puyo Puyo Tetris was apparently pretty good, Super Turbo, always there. There was a KI tournament the night before Evo that I'm so pissed I couldn't catch because I flew out to Vegas on Friday morning. It was on Thursday night. That right there, though, that's a ton to do and watch. Plus, you're in Vegas, you can think up some stuff to do. Then you had all the playable stuff there, including Dissidia, that Final Fantasy arena fighter type thing. They were handing out codes for that to anyone who was in the arena on Sunday. Might give that away. Arika's game, Fighting Layer EX, featuring the Gogi system. Punch Planet, this indie game that's looking really good, was there. I unfortunately did not get hands-on with any of that stuff. But what I did play was Marvel Infinite and the Dragon Ball Z Fighter by Arc System. On Marvel Infinite, finally putting my hands on it has really dispelled a lot of my fears. It's frantic for one, it's really fast-paced. There's a lot of room for flexibility and growth, it feels like. It looks fine in motion, even if the character models are still ugly as shit at standstill. Like, it's pretty systems heavy. There's still tons of stuff on screen at all times. They basically made the new tagging system a replacement for assists, which I don't know why they're not pushing harder in the marketing. Like, they need to push those systems. They need to really put that shit front and center. So while I was playing, I played a lot of X. I played a lot of my boy X, and I can tell you right now that I am maining him and Sigma at launch, assuming Sigma, I know he's going to be a DLC character, but might be launch DLC, even if he's not. Like, as soon as he comes out, X and Sigma, that's my main team. Oh god, I've been wanting Sigma and Marvel for so fucking long. The other thing that I played was the 6th fighter build of DBZ. That game, y'all, that game is so fun. It is fun as hell. And it's super interesting to see how the meta evolved just over the weekend, with people learning to parry the rush move that homes you in on your opponent. And, like, people struggling with Goku's level 3 on Friday and figuring out kind of how to deal with it and how to block it by the end of Saturday. I'm still concerned about how character variety is going to pan out long term. Like, I don't know how they're going to vary up the move sets and special move kits and the play styles when DBZ seems kind of homogenous in that regard, but after what I played at EVO, I am 100% on board, and I'm completely willing to be optimistic, especially because its Arc system works, and they seem to be able to do no wrong right now. Like, they're churning out nothing but quality. All I know right now, though, is that it is incredibly fun. It's blistering. It's so fucking good. It's really good. I say that as someone who doesn't even like DBZ all that much. Like, keep that in mind. I would not be able to contain myself if this was like a Yu Yu Hakusho fighter or a One Piece fighter or some other anime that I'm more invested in. But DBZ, like, even with me feeling lukewarm about that franchise, I'm still like, yo, let's fucking go. When's DBZ? Oh man, let's go on with some of the top 8s. KOF had its top 8 on Friday. And KOF, as little as I play it, as much as I would love to have more time to play KOF, I just don't have the time to. It never fails to hook me though. Like, as little as I have time to play it. Always, always, always delivers somehow. That final match in Grand Finals with the Daimon Super, fuck, so good. Guilty Gear and Injustice 2 had their top 8s on Saturday, along with Melee. I did not catch any Melee at all that weekend because I really don't care about Melee. But Guilty Gear was fun. Injustice was what I was really looking forward to that day. I've been digging Injustice so much since it came out. I didn't really get into Injustice 1 all that much, but NetherRealm's other two fighters recently, MK9 and MKX, were great. I love both of them. And Injustice 2, like, something about it is just grabbing me more than the first game did, so I've been putting a lot of time into that. It's quite good. And part of why I was looking forward to that top 8 so much is I wanted to see if we would get, like, a Sonic Fox win again, keeping up his dominant streak in NRS games. I was looking forward to a possible run back of Tekken Master and him from EVO Grand Finals last year that had one of the hypest moments of the whole weekend, with Tekken Master getting into Sonic Fox's head. White Boy had just come off a CEO win right before EVO with his Scarecrow. I was really wanting to steal more tech from White Boy, because I also main Scarecrow, but that did not happen. I don't think he made top 8. Sonic Fox got mauled, went 0-2 in top 8, which was like, yeah, that was shocking. And everybody was getting behind Honeybee's run through top 8 with his Flash, who is not super well represented in tournaments right now. Plus you have some real concerns about from folks about the higher tier characters like Aquaman, Black Adam, smothering some of the mid to low tier characters. But Honeybee made Grand Finals against Dragon's Aquaman. He did it with Flash. He was coming from loser's bracket, playing an Aquaman mirror at first in Grand Finals. For the first 2 games, he went down 0-2. It didn't work out. He switched back to his Flash, much to everyone's delight and hype. And he tied it up. He almost reset the bracket, but wasn't meant to be. Dragon took it 3-2. No bracket reset. It was a hype set. The whole top 8 was good, and I am happy for Dragon. He seems like a really genuinely nice kid. And Sunday was the big arena day. Sunday. They started doing this last year, where on Sunday everything moves to the Mandalay Bay Arena. This year, everything was contained within Mandalay Bay, the Mandalay Bay Convention Center for Friday and Saturday, then the arena again on Sunday. And the remaining 5 games all get their top 8s played out in that arena setting, and there is nothing else like it. It's so invigorating. It's so, like, electric in there. Even, like, early as in the morning, when there's no one in there. It's still just so good. Marvel 3 started disgustingly early. Even the time even got bumped back to, like, 7:30 or 7:45. And the arena was empty for that shit. Unfortunately. Not that people don't love Marvel, but that's way too early. And Ryan LV, I think, took it. He's been on a tear all year, so nobody was really surprised when he beat Chris G in Grand Finals. Blaze Blue. Holy shit, Blaze Blue. came on after Marvel and had maybe the best or second best top 8 of the whole weekend, which is saying something because the quality across the board was really, really high for all the games. It was insane. And that is coming from someone who doesn't even really follow the scene and does not actively play BlazBlue. The last time I touched BlazBlue was during Calamity Trigger. And I was kind of happy to find out my main from Calamity Trigger, Arakune, is apparently a goddamn beast and everybody hates him because he's so good. Oh, man. I was riveted watching that top 8, man. BlazBlue characters are so filthy. They're so dirty. And they have so much bullshit that it makes, like, the BlazBlue players' defenses mind-blowing. It's crazy how much they can block and how consistently they can do so when there's so much shit happening. And it's just a hype game to sit through. After that, I think it was Tekken next, then Smash. I might have those backwards. Either way, Tekken, again, my boy Dragunov was well represented. That slow motion continues to be the hypest addition to any fighting game ever. Doubly so when you get a whole arena reacting to that split second of suspense of both characters about to trade, and then the slow motion kicks in. You're like, what the fuck is gonna happen? This is a good time to get into Tekken. I say that as someone who has only recently gotten into Tekken. Yo, play Tekken, it's so good. Up next, Smash 4. I do not really follow that scene too much, but you know what I love? Bayonetta. I love some Bayonetta. Not just any Bayonetta, Salem's Bayonetta. Not only do I love Bayo, I love that she was featured on Disney, his Disney XD broadcasted Smash Top 8, and Street Fighter V. Plus, you have Zero, who had this mind-boggling streak of tournament wins a while back. Plus, he's generally just the favorite to win whatever he enters, even after his streak fell off. You have him in winner's side grand finals versus Salem and his Bayo. And it's so tight. Bracket gets reset. Salem goes on to win by this razor-thin margin. Everyone just explodes. It's awesome. Zero got denied an EVO win for the second year in a row. Bayo getting that W, that's all I need to be happy, man. And then comes the main event, Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V was alright last year. It was... A lot of its momentum was carried by the fact that it was riding high on the atmosphere of the first ever EVO packed arena finals. First ever time it was, I think the first time it was on ESPN. No, oh god, was that on ESPN that one year Adam Sessler was commentating, or was that on G4? Oh god, that was fucked up in Street Fighter 4. Either way, it was riding some outside circumstances to be more exciting than it actually was. The quality of play was slightly weak. There was not a lot of character variety. This year, though, there was so much going on, so much going for it. You have this recent trend of American dominance in Street Fighter over the past 8 or 9 months. Do winning everything in sight, in the later part of last year, including Capcom Cup. Then you have Punk coming up and winning everything out of nowhere this year, for the past couple months. Snake Eyes taking CEO with Zangief. And Japanese players for the first time in Street Fighter history looking like they aren't the dominant force. So NuckleDu, like I mentioned, won Capcom Cup. He is in top 8 winners. You have Punk, who won E-League in top 8 winners, and he has not dropped a single game all tournament. Just a sea of 2-0s, 3-0s. There's Filipino champ in losers in his Dhalsim. But for having this long stint of American dominance, that was it. 3 Americans in top 8, 5 Japanese players. No other nationalities represented. No Chinese players like Zhao Hai. No Taiwanese players, nothing. Just no European players, no Phenom represented. Just 5 Japanese players, 3 Americans. And the Japanese players are Tokido, playing Akuma, Kazunoko, and Kami, MOV playing Chun-Li, Itabashi, Zangief, and this relatively unknown Rashid player named Moke. And every person is playing a different character. So you have all of that. You have this potential for drama and like national pride and stuff like that. And the level of play since Street Fighter V has now gone up so much since the game has been out nearly a year and a half. It's so much higher now. And it's beautiful to watch. Like, Tokido in particular is just out there doing stuff like baiting V reversals so he can parry them for full punishes and faking raging demons to set situations up. Like, oh man, it's so good. Level of play is so high now and so much more exciting than last year. So this top 8 was up there with BlazBlue for just pure hype. And that's before you factor in the electricity of this packed crowd. And yeah, this year there was a price hike. There was less of like a new game sheen on the games, so attendance was lower and the arena wasn't as full. But during top 8 of Street Fighter V, it was still packed and the atmosphere is just incredible. There's nothing else like it in fighting games outside of EVO. So the situation I was hoping for was gonna be for Dew to win both Capcom Cup and EVO back-to-back. I think that would have been incredible. Didn't happen. He exited pretty quick. Champ got knocked out. Meanwhile, Punk is just stacking up bodies all the way to Grand Finals, where he sat still not having dropped a single game. 3-0 against Itabashi, 3-0 against Kazunoko. Hello, Grand Finals. Champ's losers bracket match against Tokido, where he got eliminated. That is where a lot of the genius of Tokido's Akuma play was going down. Champ nearly knocked Tokido out, though, which would have changed everything about the landscape of that top 8. But Champ wound up going home. Tokido eventually makes it to Grand Finals from loser's side. Punk had 2-0'd him earlier on in the weekend to send him to losers. That's where his loss came from that weekend. Now he's running it back in Grand Finals. Punk is the heavy favorite to win here. He's the crowd favorite. It comes down to another one of these classic America versus Japan face-offs. So perfect. Tokido blows Punk up in the first set. And automatically everyone's like, uh-oh. People are starting to get worried. These are the first games Punk has dropped all tournament. And Tokido has reset the bracket. And then he blows Punk up again to win his first EVO in like 10 years. And to keep America in the dark. For perspective here, an American hasn't won Street Fighter at EVO since, like, Super Turbo. Probably in 2004-ish. And Punk was coming in as the favorite. And he was in tears, and I get that. Like, I really understand that. That feeling. That devastation of loss. Especially when you have come so close. But that kid is going to dominate one day. He's 18. This was his first ever EVO, and he made Grand Finals in winner's side without dropping a game up to that point. This kid's first EVO. Holy shit. This was Tokido's day, and he was brilliant. He was playing out of his fucking mind. He very clearly had prepared specifically for Punk because he had his number. And I don't want to take anything away from what an incredible win that was, but Punk was impressive as hell and deserves props all the same, win or lose. And that was top 8. That was every top 8. Insanely good EVO just from the quality of the games across all the top 8s and the electricity in the air. But there was more going on, especially on Sunday. Like, remember I was saying that EVO has kind of become a fighting game convention on top of being this big prestigious tournament? Almost every top 8 ended with some major announcement. Jetta from Darkstalkers got shown off in Marvel Infinite. He looks real good. There were some good-looking demo matches between Combo Fiend and F-Champ. Trunks got shown off for Arc Systems' DBZ fighter. Jubei got announced for BlazBlue after all this time. Then they continued tearing it up with this teaser that starts off with BlazBlue characters on screen, and then who's that coming in on the right? It's you from Persona! So right away we're getting BlazBlue cross Persona 4 Arena, and at that point I am losing my mind. But there's more. Under Night characters show up. And then they top it all off with Ruby Rose. So we have Blaze Blue cross Persona 4 Arena, cross Under Night, cross Ruby in this huge crossover fighting game. Holy shit. Blaze Blue cross tag battle. Then Bandai comes out and one-ups them with Geese Howard. Geese is guest starring in Tekken, complete with the whole crowd chanting "Predictable" for all of his counters. I love my boy Dragunov, but Geese is my new main. The second he comes out, I'm all over him. Oh my god. You had Arika's new Fighting Layer EX, showing off old Street Fighter EX characters like Garuda, and wait, who's that? Yeah, it's Skullomania in 2017! We got the reveal trailer for Abigail in Street Fighter V, who is freakishly proportioned. He's this obscure Final Fight boss, like 2 feet taller than Hugo. It's absurd. I really, really want to see Cammy air throw him. And the crowd didn't know how to react, because he is weird and freaky looking. But I think they warmed up as the trailer went on, because as weird as he is, he looks pretty fun. Plus, his stage is drop dead gorgeous. All of that dropped on Sunday alone. So yeah, EVO has become fighting game E3. It's E3VO. And then throughout the weekend, aside from playing matches, casuals, games that were at EVO, playing Xavier Woods from the WWE in Windjammers and arcade they had set up, aside from doing all of that, I found some time to do some other things. Mandalay Bay, the hotel that I was staying at, is gorgeous. Most of the casino hotels in the Strip are kind of trashy, predatory labyrinths that constantly just stink of smoke. They exude this feeling of desperation. It's just, they kind of make my skin crawl a little bit. And one of my least favorite things about Vegas are the hotels. But Mandalay Bay is so nice. I got a complimentary suite upgrade for slipping the woman at the front desk a 20. Suite probably would have ran me 40 a night, so yeah. It's pretty good. The food is nice. I ate at a place called Citizens in the hotel. One night had this awesome prime rib dinner where the steak was perfectly cooked, came with steamed broccoli and this amazing spicy mayo dip, and one of the best loaded baked potatoes I have ever had, garnished with scallions. A+, man. And at Mandalay Bay, there's not just a hotel pool, there's a full beach with a wave pool and a lazy river that turns into a pool party at night, with like a swim-up bar and swim-up poker. And there's a huge aquarium in there called the Shark Reef Aquarium, where I just gawk it and take lots of photos and stare down this glass tunnel where you're surrounded on all sides by the fish. That's one of the coolest aquariums I have ever been to. And the night after I went to Shark Reef, I made time to go to Circus for an indoor theme park called the Adventure Dome. They have this Pacific Rim ride where they strap you into a pneumatic seat, and it's this big panoramic screen that plays a fight scene from Pacific Rim. And while the fight is going on, the seats are jerking around and moving, so it feels like you're in the cockpit of Gypsy Danger. It's kind of like a D-Box seat a movie. It's really cool. Oh man, there's so much going on here. The place is like, it's densely packed with rides. There's the Inverter, one of those pendulum-style rides. Except your seat can flip all the way around. There's a good few seconds where you're up there at the peak of it and it's just suspended with you upside down. There's 2 really awesome coasters there, with the only downside being that the restraints are weirdly positioned, and every time the coaster would take a sharp turn, the side of my head would kind of lightly slam into the padded restraint, and that sucked. It wasn't that bad, but still not that pleasant. The ride was a goddamn hoot though, and they do so much with the space they have to make it wrap around and loop and contort and stuff. And there's some scary shit going on in there too, like low-hanging overpasses leading into tunnels. It makes me wonder how you don't just get decapitated if you're tall. Like, I'm 5'5", I'm a small dude, and the sight of that coming at you, it's terrifying. Feels like it's about to clip you. I mean, it's definitely not. It's definitely, like, there's no way that is a legitimate safety concern, but it's a huge split-second shock that just really gets you. And probably my favorite ride was called Chaos. Just Chaos. And at first, it looks like your average tilt-a-whirl, which is fine. I love a good tilt-a-whirl. And then the Adventure Dome's love affair with free spinning seats comes into play. So it's tilting and it's spinning, going almost completely vertical at times. And then your seat also starts spinning vertically. So as the ride is twirling around, your seat is doing somersaults. It's so good. I would go back to that place just for that ride. At some point, I caught a dolphin training session at Siegfried and Roy's Secret Garden. That was neat. Also saw some tigers and lions. Also neat. The shitty thing, though, about going to see tigers or any kind of large cat is they spend most of their time sleeping. Even when they're up, they aren't exactly, like, super active, so you mainly go and see big lions just sprawled out on a bed of grass. And finally, the last thing I did was on Monday. Evo wrapped up on Sunday after Street Fighter. After that, I hit the after party for a little while, and I wasn't flying out until Monday night, so I got up at like 6 a.m. on Monday to take a very cool tour. For the first time in my life, I saw the Grand Canyon, the west rim of it specifically. It's like a 2.5-hour bus ride. They pick you up at the hotel. There's a stop at the Hoover Dam bypass bridge for photos of the dam. And that 2.5-hour bus ride flew by because we had this great, super charismatic tour guide who was just full of knowledge. And because of her, it didn't feel very long at all. Like, for example, we were passing through this thicket of cacti. This is a place known as the Joshua Tree National Forest. Why is it called that? Kathy, our tour guide, explains. The Joshua Tree National Forest is named so because of some Mormons who were passing through. They saw plants and said, hey, they're reaching their arms up towards heaven. So they went to the Bible and named them Joshua trees. Joshuas are not fucking trees, they are cacti. But the name stuck. It's called a forest despite having no trees because it's protected by federal law. Basically, people would go through and steal the Joshuas, and that used to be a misdemeanor, and they had to protect the land to stop people from doing that, to dissuade them, because stealing from a national forest is a felony. So stealing the Joshuas is now a felony, and it became the Joshua Tree National Forest despite having no trees. And she had some kind of good anecdote chambered for everything we passed by. Plus, the tour included a free breakfast, a free lunch, free water, free orange juice on the bus. It was a nice extra. So as we arrive at the canyon, our bus drops us at a transfer point, and from there it becomes this self-guided tour for a bit. We had, I don't know, like 4 hours or something to budget, and there were 4 stops, so we can figure out how much time that we want to spend at each stop. So if there's one particular thing that you're more into than others, you just spend more time there. First up was the helicopter and boat tour. Whew, this was good. I've never been on a helicopter before, so I could cross that off the list. We got a 20-minute helicopter tour through the Grand Canyon, and it is majestic, y'all. From there, the helicopter drops us on a motorized pontoon boat, take a cruise through the Colorado River, and that, being surrounded on all sides and seeing the canyon walls reaching into the sky all around you, that's something else. That is something else, man. We then take the helicopter back and transfer to a bus that brings us to the Wallapai Run Ranch. Nothing too exciting there. There was a good magic show going on, so I didn't stay too long aside from to catch the magic show. Eagle Point was the second stop. Eagle Point is home to the Skywalk. This is a glass walkway that juts out directly over the canyon so that you can look straight down at your feet and see 4,000 feet deep into the Grand Canyon. And that's awesome. It's also all outside, so you can also just look over the railing of the canyon. Y'all, I am a sucker for glass bottom views of great heights. When I was in Toronto, I beelined for the glass bottom part of the observation deck of the CN Tower. I was pumped for this. Oh man, it did not disappoint. It didn't disappoint at all. Spent probably 15 minutes with my jaw on the floor looking over. It is a breathtaking view. You will never feel so small as when you're up there. Plus, outside the Skywalk, there are so many opportunities to just gaze at the vista. And there are no guardrails, so you can just get as close to the edge as you want and look straight down into the canyon. It's awesome in the truest sense of the word. And amazingly, they have like 12 deaths a year out of millions of visitors. That's not that many. And then at Guano Point, there's just a more sheer, unobstructed views. Again, really breathtaking stuff. So happy I went. That was money well spent. The spectacle of seeing the Grand Canyon in person absolutely lives up to the hype. Plus, the way I got to experience it from so many angles was really, really cool. Especially love that pontoon boat tour after the helicopter ride. Also gave me the excuse I needed to head into Arizona and spend some time there so I could cross that off my list as I'm trying to travel to all 50 states. That was my 4th time in Vegas. Easily the best time I have yet had. It was one of my most memorable trips. And I'm gonna leave you with that. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.